In this lesson, we'll explore the buttons and functionality of the Hypershade tab toolbar. Okay, fantastic. I've got another empty scene open here, and first thing I'm going to do is just jump up to the window menu, and under rendering editors, we'll open up the Hypershade. Alright, great. So once our Hypershade is open here, the Hypershade tab toolbar is right here in the center. Kind of runs up and down in this column that separates our create bar from our work area and our tabs. So you can see here that my toolbar though is grayed out, and I can't click on any of these buttons right now. More than likely yours is probably in a similar state, so in order to sort of bring these buttons to life, let's just go ahead and click over here in kind of this empty area in the Materials tab. As soon as I do, you'll see that these buttons come to life, and basically what these buttons allow us to do is really customize how we're viewing the contents of our tabs right up here. So let me just go ahead and start off by dropping in a few materials. I'm going to go ahead and come over to the Maya Surface materials, and let's go ahead and drop in a blend, a Lambert, and a Fong. And then I'm going to do that again. We'll just drop in another blend, another Lambert, and another Fong. So basically what I've got up here inside my tabbed view, if we go ahead and clear out our work area, you can see I have 2 blends, 3 Lamberts because Lambert 1 came with the fresh scene, and then we've got 2 Fongs right down here. Now basically what we're looking at here is icon view. This is sort of the default. Now on occasion you may be working with a scene that has so many materials in it that you have to scroll to find whatever it is you're needing. In situations like that, it may be useful to come over and click this second button right here, which will switch you over to list view. You can see here now we can see basically the name and the name only of each one of our particular materials. Now basically that just eliminates that icon preview of the sphere, but that can be very, very useful. So the next 4 buttons here basically control the size of either our icons or our list items. So you can see here that we can go even smaller. This was the default here, and we can go bigger or very, very large, sort of like that. Now, just like with navigating in the viewport or in navigating in the work area, we can also hold down the Alt key and begin to kind of zoom in and out inside of our tabs by holding down the right mouse button, just like so. Now, if we wanted to, we can also change the way that these nodes or these materials are being sorted. Now, if I look here by default, you can see here that they're being sorted in alphabetical order. We have our blends, our Lamberts, and so on and so forth. So we can change this at any time to sort these by type right here. Now if I go ahead and click on sort by type in its current state, you're probably not going to see any change up above, simply because they were basically already sorted by type because they're using the default naming scheme. Let's go ahead and change one just so we can update this. So we'll pick on blend number 2 here. Let's go ahead and select him, and we'll right click and choose rename. And instead of calling him blend 2, let's just say my blend, just like so. Now, I want you to notice that I am using a lowercase letter m to start off. We'll talk about that here in just a moment a little bit more. Now, as soon as I rename it, it's going to stay in the same place, even though the m's obviously come after the l's. So sometimes your Hypershade needs a little bit of refreshing. So what we could do is just simply come over here and change our size of our icons, and what that should do is simply refresh that, and you can see that my blend gets moved all the way over here past our Lamberts, exactly where it should be moved. Now, I want to show you something else really quickly here, because case does matter in terms of the sorting of these materials. So if I come in here and I rename that material again, but this time I use an uppercase M, and we'll go ahead and refresh again, you'll notice that that gets shifted to the very beginning of the alphabet. And obviously the letter M isn't at the beginning of the alphabet. Now the reason this is happening is because that uppercase letters, when they begin a material name, are prioritized. So watch what happens if I come in here and rename Fong number 2. Let's just call this one something like I'll just call this maybe another material, just like so. We'll go ahead and refresh, and look where that shifts. It shifts to the very beginning as well. Now, basically what's going on here is there is two levels of alphabetical sorting. We have our uppercase prioritized at the very beginning, and then we have all of our lowercase letters being prioritized after that. So if you're accustomed to using a lowercase letter to start off things, and when you are naming it here in Maya, then you should be just fine. But just keep in mind that that will affect the way that your materials sort. All right, great. I want to go ahead and rename this guy back with a lowercase letter just so we can get everything exactly the way it should be here. And we'll do the same with this one. Do a little refresh, and fantastic. We've got that in exactly the place where it should be. Now, we also have the ability to sort each of our materials by time. Now that may be sort of an abstract concept, but basically by sorting these by time, we're sorting them in the order that they were created. So by clicking on that, you'll see here that the Lambert 1 is the very first material. Now that's the material that each Maya scene is created with. So you can see here that towards the end we have another material. Again, that was the Fong that I created last. Remember, I created Blinn, Lambert, Fong, and then Blinn, Lambert, Fong. So now when it comes to the sorting of these materials, we also have the ability to reverse that sorting by clicking on this button. So let's go ahead and look at this in a very simplified view, maybe just alphabetical. If we go ahead and reverse that sorting, you'll notice here that, again, my another material that was previously first is now last. All right, fantastic. So again, this is the Hypershade Toolbar right over here. And again, these are very, very useful controls, especially when you're working with a larger scene that has a large number of materials inside of it. All right, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next lesson. And we'll learn a little bit about how we can view shading network connections.